Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you all floated in here. I'd like to ask Ann to come up to do our invocation, pledge, and four-way test.
Good afternoon. Everybody will just join me. Gracious God, we just thank you so much for another day for us to understand the world around us. Help us to be people that will be concerned and care for the people around us, both locally, regionally, nationally, and even internationally. There's a lot of faces in the world, God, that get little or no attention, and Rotary attends to a lot of those. We thank you for that. Give us all encouragement to do our part. In Jesus' name, amen. The Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks.
I'd like to thank Andrew for working the table. We have no guests or visiting Rotarians today. At this time, if anybody has announcements and would like to come to the front. Is Tom MacArthur here today? How was the turnout for the County Road 6 cleanup? Thank you all. Jerry?
Okay, who wants to go to the Super Bowl for $20? Yeah. Okay, on your table you have, we are supporting Concord's fundraiser, and tickets are available. Stan and I will be offering those tickets to the club. You can get, buy one ticket for $5. Go ahead and do $20 and you get 5 tickets. So the grand prize, again, you can see that on your table. It's 2 tickets to the game, 4 nights lodging in Los Angeles, if it's still there after the rain, and $1,000 in cash. Now, if you want to go to Super Bowl, you could win second prize. Only for $20, you could win $1,000. And then third prize, $500, fourth prize, $300, and fifth prize, $200. Come on, $20. Buy some tickets. We'll have them here for the next couple of weeks. So see me if you want a ticket or see Stan. Thanks.
Hey, Jerry?
Yes.
I invested $20 2 years ago, got $1,000.
Well, let's do $40 if you could go to the Super Bowl. Yes.
And I sold him the ticket. So let's see some hands. Who's interested in some tickets today? All right. We'll have them for a few weeks, so support our brothers and sisters at the Concord Rotary.
So for those who are interested in being part of the social committee for planning our 5th Monday, we will be meeting here at 11:15 next week. So if you want to come just a little bit early, if you have some input, we're looking at a couple of different venues, a couple of different options, including but not limited to an open mic night, more Rotarian trivia, just a nice kind of chill evening with food and beverage and merriment. So if you're interested, even if you're joining us online, put it in the chat that you want to join us, and we'll be here at 11:15 next week. Thank you so much.
This afternoon, I will be packing 2 large boxes to go to Guatemala. We will take them with us to Arizona when they leave tomorrow. And then they will go on a container from Los Angeles, hopefully, what's going on there. And they will be there in time for Easter. Janet Burke, who is our contact for this, actually is also a snowbird. That's how I know her. And she has sent a little note to us. I would like you to know that Janet's in her 80s. She is very frail due to a massive stroke. She is legally blind. She does not speak Spanish, and yet she has accomplished everything remotely. And she is a very remarkable lady. She says, please thank the donors for their caring and the difference they are making to young women in the remote mountains of Guatemala. Your donation for scholarships to the Amishahul Maya Girls Club Entrepreneur and Computer Livelihood Training Course will enable a new future for them, their families, and community. With deep gratitude for your support of the girls and young women with no resources in Shahul, the Elkhart Rotary is changing lives and facilitating new futures. Make a Difference Now, which is a collaborative charity, is matching our $683 donation. Thank you very much for all of you for that. And the scholarships then will help about a dozen young women between 16 and 24 to complete this computer and business class. Janet's family trust has purchased the tablets, and she has arranged for hotspots from solar to power these tablets. So what she's been able to do remotely, as I mentioned, is very remarkable. And when I come back in the spring, I'll have some photographs and a report back. Thank you.
Some upcoming dates to remember is Noon Division November 1st is Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative at St. Mary's. November 8th will be Jeff Burkbrink, Extension Educators CED with Purdue Extension. And then we have some service dates here at Boot Lake, November 13th and December 11th, meet at 10 a.m. We also have restaurant fundraising for the Salvation Army, Friday, December 10th. Then we have Salvation Army bell ringing for Saturday, December 11th, in case you guys are not signed up yet. We do have one resignation, that's Dave Weaver at the end of October. He is no longer with the Mennonite Missionary Network, and he's probably going to be joining the Goshen Rotary Club, which is closer to his name. Which brings me to today's sergeant, which is none other than Mr. Peter Norton.
My people, thank you so much. So let's start at the beginning. To our guests, do we have any guests today? If there's a guest here, nobody's in trouble. We're cracking jokes and raising money for charity. You're exempt. So let's start with Tom MacArthur. I'd like to thank you for the warm welcome when I sat down at the table. $5. He says it's the truth for those of you playing the home game. For those of you playing the home game, remember you can donate your fines at Elkhart Rotary. Okay, will these people please stand? Jim Rickoff, Dave Damerow, Andy Lazenby, Mo Jacobson, Sharon Herstein, Brad Miller, and Wes Steff. We have a couple here. Do you two know what you have in common? What? Good looks. Yes, the correct answer is that they accepted the invitation to Thirsty Thursday. We had a very nice gathering. For those of you sitting down, please put $1 in the basket. Okay, so anybody who attended the county road cleanup, please stand. All right, well, thanks for doing something to make our community a little nicer. Tom says there were 2 trailers full of trash. Unbelievable, great job. No fine for you guys. If you're sitting down, put $1 in the basket. Doug Grisser? It's not here either. All right. Oh, here's a tip. My wife looks up at me the other day and says, "We're done with Comcast." When she gets this tone, I pretty much just say, "Yes, ma'am." Why? She just got the bill and they raised the price again. So we did some research and we switched, because we had the package of 3. We switched from cable TV to streaming TV. We still get the internet through them, and our bill went from $249 a month to $81. So if you're still paying for cable, I know you can't afford it, but put $1 in the basket. Notre Dame football fans, please stand. Another glorious victory for Our Lady. If you're sitting down, put $1 in the basket. Indiana University football fans. Yeah, I know, it's tough. Ouch. Yeah. $1. Purdue football fans. Okay, there are some. Yeah, sorry guys, $1. Yeah, that's good. All right, and a quick sergeant presentation this morning, since I really just found out on Saturday I was doing this. So finally, I liked your timing. If anyone didn't watch any football this weekend, please put $1 in the basket. Have a good Rotary week.
Hey, thanks, Peter. We're going to have Sharon introduce our guest.
We're winging it here today. In more ways than one. Our presenter today is Pam Cheney with Cheney Aesthetics. And you're going to learn a lot more about the services that help keep our community connected, vital, fun. What else, Pam? Free of pain. She's actually one of the top 100 injectors in the United States. And again, it's a pleasure to introduce you, Pam, if you'll pop up this way. You just go arrow to the side.
Okay. Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I own a aesthetic practice here in Elkhart, and we service a lot of people from the young to the very old. And what we're about is non-invasive measures for the skin, scar revision, acne, just restoring collagen back to the skin, because as we age, we lose our elastic recoil of the skin, and therefore the shape of the skin starts to change. So the reason people come to us is because in today's market, we're trying to gravitate towards the young and very old to let them know that they can take care of their skin without having to have surgery. As you know, risk and complications occur with surgery. And according to the American Academy of Plastic Surgeons, this year alone, we've had 3.5 million people across the United States search us out. So when you come into our office, we have everything from a simple day spa hydrofacial that extracts things like pore, dirt, bacteria, oil from your skin. And we put peptides to strengthen the skin and nourish the skin, as well as acids to exfoliate the dead cells. So people will say to me, I'll ask them what their skincare routine is, and they'll say, why wash my face? Okay, well, when I ask them about exfoliation products, they look at me and like a deer in the headlights, like they don't know what that means. So what it means is, over the years, if we do not exfoliate that skin, it piles up like paint. And those paint chips get thicker and thicker and thicker. And our natural God-given ability to hydrate our skin is blocked by this actual buildup of dead skin cells. So we put them on a regimen. We deal a lot with scars. I deal a lot with post-traumatic scars, stabbing, car accidents, and different things like that with the use of laser technology. So our different lasers target different things in the skin, such as pigment, scar tissue that's built up. We'll cut through that with the laser. And each time we treat that patient with a laser, we're minimizing the appearance of that scar, which mentally helps them cope with the trauma that they experienced when they got that scar. We also deal with a lot of PRP, which is drawing your blood and infusing it back into your body in the form of hair restoration, skin rejuvenation, pain, joints, and so forth and so on. So what we're trying to reach in the Elkhart community is people who will seek out our services that would otherwise go to a plastic surgeon. As I said before, different plastic surgeries cause risk and complications. So if someone were to come to me, I would say to them, you know, you can have a facelift if you want to go to one of the surgeons that I recommend, or we can try some non-invasive measures where you can get back out into the community. And with today's job market and how tight it is, people are coming to us to help get that rejuvenation without anybody knowing. So they can come into our office and have a procedure done and literally have no downtime whatsoever, but restore that skin radiance and exuberance to the skin, and nobody will know what they've had done. We also have men that come in for what we call collagen stimulators. As we age, the skin lays on a scaffolding, lays on your bone, muscle, and fat. As we age, this fat decides to go away, and that's like a mattress of support. So the skin starts to fall with the loss of fat, bone, and muscle. So we just restore that by injecting this collagen stimulator that stimulates collagen without anybody knowing. It's not a filler. And it will actually hold the skin in place and prevent it from hollowing out and support it, giving you a more youthful look. I have some before and after product. This is a liquid facelift, for instance. What that means is I put different levels of filler in her face. She had a lot of volume loss and under eye support was gone. So we injected just to lift everything back into place as it was before she lost all the fat. This is our cool pill laser. This is what I use for scar tissue. I use it for pigmentation to reduce the pores, to help with fine lines and wrinkles. We had a gentleman come in the other day that he is, you know, a CEO of a big company here in Elkhart. He's like, I don't want anybody knowing what I've had done, but I want some turning back of the aging clock because I'm dealing with a lot of young kids now that are coming into my industry, and I want to be tops of my game. So we did this cool pill laser. What that is it targets water in the skin. So the laser fires into the skin and it makes microscopic little injuries so the skin will peel off. And that's what I use a lot for scar tissue. So cool pill laser, another liquid facelift. This is lip filler. Some of you men probably don't, you know, care about this, but there's a lot of women that will come to us and they want some hydration to the lip, or they have a scar, or they want something, and the filler goes underneath and it actually is eaten by the body. And it just gives them a little bit of pucker to their pout. But we do bid. This is our M-Sculpt. This is an MRI machine that actually lays on top of the stomach, and it does 20,000 contractions of the abdominal rectus muscle. And with women, that muscle rips when we have children. The uterus comes out, the muscle separates, the diastasis recti separates. And what this does is brings back that muscle support. For men who like to golf, it's a very good machine to use because it supports the back. Anytime our core is strengthened, our back is supported. This is toxins. A lot of women come to us and men come to us to get rid of the pesky little 11s, but it's very therapeutic and it's very medicinal. It works for trigger point pain in the neck. We do it for migraines. It's FDA approved for migraines. I use it a lot for people who clench their jaw for TMJ, and it gives them relaxation and help with that pain. So Botox, as you would call it, is better for other things other than just beauty. This is medical grade skincare and hydrofacials. The hydrofacial I talked about was when we run this little suction tip over the face and it aspirates all the gunk in our pores and it puts medicine back into the skin to help with people such as this young lady who had severe acne. One of the things that kids don't realize is hormones and the way that they cleanse their skin and the medical ingredients or pharmaceutical ingredients they use plays a key role in how clear their skin's going to be. I even see people older in their 70s and 80s who have fluctuating hormones and they're concerned because they've thought, I shouldn't be having pimples now, and now I do. So what do I do? So we do a series of things now. Soon we're adding on to our facility, and we're going to be doing bioidentical hormones and drawing labs and panels to determine what your hormone levels are from young to old, so we know the plan to be able to help you with. This is a lady that came to me from California, and she did not like the way the appearance of her stomach was. So I had little time to do what I needed to do, and I'll be speaking about this procedure next year in Las Vegas. One of the things that I did with this lady was try to restore the texture and turgor of her skin and try to minimize the scarring as well as smooth out her skin. So I used 3 different things: hyperdiluted radius, which is a collagen stimulator. Using a long cannula, I made a little poke in the abdomen tissue, went in, fanned it in. Used a Morpheus, which is the #1 radio frequency microneedling device in the country right now, and it goes in and remodels the collagen and tightens the skin. And then I ended with what we call polydiaxone threads, which are long absorbable sutures that we basically sew people up with. But you put them in the skin and they dissolve under the skin and they create that tightening and smoothing like she got in the second picture. And that was one treatment, 2 months apart. So there's so much we can do nowadays that you don't have to see a surgeon for. I do refer to surgeons. I have a lot of friends in this community as well as across the United States. And so I don't have any problem with being honest and telling people, hey, I can't help you. This is something you need to see a surgeon for. This again is a cool pill laser. You can see how the texture improved and tightened and how the pigmentation improved as well. So what I try to tell people is you can get rid of years of damage to your skin by using a laser and some pharmaceutical products in our spa. And it also helps to get some of those precancerous lesions off too that people, you know, have, and they'll come to us and have little crusty areas on their face. My aunt's 88, and she's in Hubbard Hill right now, and she still cares about her skin. And she's like, I really want to have some stuff done that I can, you know, prevent some of these little crusty lesions I'm getting on my skin. So that's what we would use, is a cool pill laser. Just like a chemical pill, it's a laser peel. And then that's PDO threads in the face. That is me going into the skin. And if you can picture a bridge and all of the supports under the bridge, that's what's holding her skin up. It's in a subdermal tissue, so it's just right below the skin. That holds the skin up. And then you can use other things like fillers to help contour the face. but that'll last her about 2 years. And then I recommended that she have some radio frequency microneedling done. I took my machines down to Tennessee last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and I take care of the Chrisley family, Todd Chrisley and Julie Chrisley. I don't know if you guys know them, but they're a reality family. They have their own reality television show, and we're opening a spa down there in the coming months. And one of the things that he wanted to put into the spa was radio frequency, PDO threads, and a lot of different lasers, because we're all about skin health. So that's where we're headed in the future. That's another radio frequency microneedling. After 2 treatments, you can see how the texture of the skin improved, how it tightened, and the radiance of the skin. This is PRP, or hair restoration. This gentleman is a physician. He came to me, he said, I don't like how thin my hair is getting on top. And I said, well, we have some measures to do for you instead of you going to Bosley and Chicago and having plugs put in. So what we'll do is we'll draw your blood, which has platelets in it. Because of the way it's spun out in our centrifuge, we're able to separate those platelets and give him back growth factors that will actually grow his hair. And that was after 2 treatments, 6 weeks apart. So you can see how the hair filled out in that second slide. This is a Careview scalp treatment. Now this is a different treatment. It's with our hydrofacial, and it's kind of like, I call it the sucker fish. The hydrofacial sucks all the stuff out of your pores, but it also goes through the scalp and sucks all of that stuff out of the scalp, kind of like a cradle cap with a baby. It's going to suck all that stuff into the machine, infuse peptides and growth factors. And this was this gentleman after his 3rd treatment, and that was non-invasive. No pain whatsoever. Now, does anybody have any questions? That's a lot to cover. One of the things I recommend is I always say to people when they come in, I don't care so much about Botox and fillers. I will help you decide what you want to decide. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to look unusually different. Well, how I brand myself is I want people to look natural. I don't want them to feel like they walked out of Vegas or California, where we see the ladies with the huge cheeks and the big lips, and that's not what we want to age like. We want to age gracefully. We want to look like nobody knows we've had anything done. My aunt is 89, and my other one in Florida, and my mother is 77, and they come to me all the time when they come home from Florida. I want something to give me a little bit of life back to my skin. And I'll either do a laser, or I'll do a few collagen stimulators just to stimulate activity under the skin, and nobody knows they've had anything done. But the one thing that people will know walking out of my office is I want them to wear sunscreen, reapplied every 2 hours when you're out in the sun, because we get that photo damage, and we also get that oxidative stress on our skin. An antioxidant such as vitamin C is very important too. And peel. Nobody walks out of my office without a retinol. Because if you could do these things in the privacy of your own bathroom, you spend very little money in our facility. We love to have you come check us out. We want to try to encourage a lot more younger people in this area. We have a great following. And I talk all over the place and basically help with a lot of non-for-profit organizations around the community. So does anybody have any questions whatsoever?
Hey, Pam, on sunscreen, do you recommend the mineral-based or the traditional?
I like the mineral because it's got titanium dioxide and zinc oxide in it, yeah. So octinoctobenzene is a chemical that's in some of the other sunscreens. I'm not really happy about that because that has been proven to cause pigmentation to come to the surface. So yeah, it's a good question. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'm looking around the room, and unfortunately, I don't see anybody in here who could use your service.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we had the chaplain, the Elkhart County Jail, come and talk to us. One of the things that he kind of remarked about offhandedly, there was
have a pico laser, which actually is called, I kind of call it the grenade. You throw it into the pigment, it breaks it up in small little particles. Our endpoint as a practitioner is to see frosting. We know that the laser actually hit the pigment and blew it into small little tiny sand-like pieces. Then they'll leave, come back again in 8 weeks, and that gives the body enough time to rid them of the pigment that we decided to blow up in small particles. It normally takes, depending upon the ink, the location, and if it's an overlaid tattoo, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 12 treatments. And those are 6 to 8 weeks apart.
Per tattoo?
It depends on the size of the tattoo. There's 2 doctors that went together called Kirby and Desai, and they determined for us, when we look at a tattoo, the proximity and the location in relation to the heart, the colors of the tattoo, if we have an overlaid tattoo, which a lot of people who are prisoners, I mean, I've seen people, they've come to me over the years and they've had overlaid tattoos because they were in a gang, and so they overlaid it. So when I go in and treat that tattoo, what's going to come forth first is the tattoo that's at the very bottom. And so it's going to take longer to take care of those tattoos than it is the simple black tattoo. Now your colors play a role too, because green requires a different wavelength, which our Pico does actually aim and target. But people have to be realistic. One of the things about it, we're burning the skin, but the laser beam is actually targeting that chromophore of ink to shatter it in all these billions of little pieces. So it'll look real white and frosty. So it depends on what the actual size of that tattoo is how much it'll cost them to remove it.
How successful would you be in totally removing the tattoos? Because the ones I have seen, there's still a little bit of residue. And secondly, what would it cost you?
Well, the cost range is anywhere from $150 a treatment all the way up. So one of the things that I try to tell people is, especially my son who decided to come home and hide a tattoo, and I saw it and I said, if you don't think I can get you into the office and get that off when you're sleeping, you're wrong. He had 3 little different tattoos, but anyway, it's time consuming and it costs a lot to do that, but we can get it to the point where they can either have it covered. The skin will never come back to the same way that it was. It'll have a little bit of shadowing. I wish I had my before and after. I had a green tattoo. A guy in college decided to have a dragon tattooed on his ankle. And it took me about 7 treatments to get it off. And you can't see any visibility of the shape of the tattoo or any of the color. You just see a little light white pigmentation in the skin. But it can definitely be done.
Pam has donated packages to our fashion show for auction, and they're always very popular, and they always look for big bucks. And when I've gone out to her shop to pick up the products that she's donated, I'm amazed at how packed it is all the time. Do you have an idea of how many clients you have?
Oh, yeah, that's why we're adding on, and we got people packed in other rooms, and now our kitchen is now a treatment room. One of the injectors pulled open a drawer the other day to get some syringes, and she got potato chips. So, yeah, we're expanding next to us where Great Lakes Anesthesia used to be, and that's another 3,000 square feet, so that'll take place in November, December, and we looked with the way supplies are, who knows how soon we'll get over in that area, but I'm hoping by March of next year. So yeah, and we're gonna do a mobile unit too. That's how busy we're getting. So we're gonna get a Class A RV from my good friend Joe Grimm. I don't know if any of you guys know him, but he works for Thor. We're gonna wrap it with our logo and travel to where people need us to be. So
Training do you have? Where do you get it?
I have training. I have a master's in nursing. It's a clinical administration, but I've been working in plastics for 25 years. One of the things about this is, we were talking about this the other day. I'm getting ready to go to Nashville this weekend, and we have a couple things we have to talk about them, but people who are into this industry, I'm a trainer for 3 different companies. So in injectable companies, Galderma, Allergan, and PedioThreads. So one of the things that I like to do is make sure they're safe. People are doing these injections safe, that they know their anatomy. I do a lot of cadaver lab trainings. Because in this industry, it's booming like nobody else, especially since COVID. Nurses are leaving the hospital wanting to get into something like, the non-invasive measures of aesthetics. And it requires a lot of patience. You have to take, courses all the time. There's not a day that goes by that I don't ever stop learning. And I was just featured in a magazine through AMSPA, which is our regulatory board for safety and efficacy throughout the medical spa industry. And there are so many people that are just skating by their teeth. I mean, we have some dentists that are doing it that really have never had any formal training. We have other people doing it in their homes that have never had any formal training. And that's when we get into complications. The other day, I just noticed on Amazon, they're selling fillers and they're selling different things for people. I've had people bring them in my office and ask me to inject them. And I'm like, if it doesn't come from my inventory, I'm not putting it in your body. I have no idea what's in that syringe or what's in that vial. So it's getting to the point where it's getting dangerous because you have a lot of vascularity in the face and all over the body. And if you don't know where your major arteries are, you can have a major complication. You darn well better have something and protocol in the office to make sure that you're able to treat that complication immediately, because people can go blind. There's all sorts of bad things that can happen because filler doesn't belong in an artery, and that artery can die. And as we well know, if we don't dissolve that goo that's in that artery, we're going to have tissue death. And it can be everywhere from even putting somebody in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So yeah, your schooling is important. I continue to challenge myself all the time with new procedures. There's wonderful doctors all over the United States that I've learned from, and outside the United States. So yeah, you just got to keep up with the game. You got to make sure you know what you're doing. Good question.
My question is something that would be interesting for all of our men here, because they're very concerned about their eyebrows. But what services do you have for eyebrows? Because, you hear about microblading, you hear about powder brows, you hear about regrowth in the eyebrows. So
we don't have really anything. I don't do microblading at our place. I refer it out. And microblading is.
Since you do regrowth in the hair, do you do?
You could do, yeah, you can actually inject those right there in the eyebrow and create growth. We also have Latisse too, which is a topical that people can use in a wand and brush that on their eyebrows as well. But we can do shaping of their eyebrows too. But I don't do any microblading because I used to do paramedical micropigmentation when I worked for a plastic surgeon, tattooing areolas and nipples on patients who had had reconstructive surgery, and I still can do that. I enjoyed that. That was always wonderful, work with American Cancer Society and doing stuff like that for women who actually needed that 3D paramedical areola and nipple. It gave them back confidence when they had clothes on, So it was something that I prided myself in doing.
So we know the answer to the first one of those questions, but what about the other three?
Oh, okay. You should start using anti-aging products that are pharmaceutical grade right away, because we have a lot of pollution. We have a lot of things going on in the world today, and stress. And so I always tell people the 3 products I'd like you to use is the glycolic acid to exfoliate the skin during the day, vitamin C, which is a great antioxidant, and then retinol at night. How many times do you wash your face? Twice a day. You morning and evening, take your makeup off. Women, men, if you wear makeup, take it off too. We do a lot with transgenders. We do a lot with a lot of people in today's society. We're having people come in all the time, and believe it or not, even though it's little Elkhart, compared to New York City or different things like that, we still have people that we want to welcome into this, into this county, and we want to be broad in what we offer. So that way they feel comfortable with our services. And can diet really affect your skin? Yes. Our gut is our gateway to our health. So probiotics are a big key factor, and that's going to coincide with our regenerative medicine that we're adding on next year. All of that with your gut, dietitians, our nurse practitioner is really going to hone in really well on that. But if there's anything you guys have any other questions about, we have a large menu of services. We're tweaking that right now because we're going to try to put modalities together that are called the trifecta. Because one modality alone does not address the issue. So when we combine all three of these modalities, whether it be a hydrofacial, doing a laser, and then doing some fillers or whatever, we're getting more support and response from the skin. So in my industry, what we're doing is injuring the skin because God gave us that ability to heal the skin. So as we injure it, whether it be with a laser or whether it be with needles or whatever it may be, we're getting our skin replenished with new collagen, new elastin, new supportive structure. So it's kind of like we're making wounds to create radiant skin. Anybody else have any other questions?
All right, thanks, Pam. I hope everybody has a good week and stays dry out there. And Jack, I hope to get that tattoo taken off. Rotary is adjourned.